I'm Marni Hughes, and this is Missing on NewsNation. Each week, we focus on a missing person case from across the country, taking you behind the headlines, because every missing person matters. No matter their background, their past, their race, or their circumstances, they are missed by their family, their friends, their community, and oftentimes by complete strangers. It is our mission to bring these cases to light with the hope of finding answers and closure. Maybe you can help solve some of these mysteries as you follow along with our case week to week. This week, we take you to Central Florida. It has been 2 months since the family of Tanya Whipp last heard from her. Two of her sisters spoke with her on a family call on May 26th. Just a couple of days later, her boyfriend said she disappeared while he was at work. There were no details on where she might have gone. There have been a number of searches in this case, including the excavation of a yard where Tanya once lived, but still no sign of Tanya. Her family, friends, and the community of Auburndale, Florida are urgently searching and desperately want to know what happened to her.
I miss her terribly, and I just wish that she would just walk through my door.
It's been 2 months since Robin Klotzbier and her family have heard from their younger sister, Tanya Whipp. Robin spoke with Tanya on May 26th, and the last contact she had was June 1st in a Facebook post.
We're just trying to keep it together. It's definitely not like her, and that's what makes it scarier.
Worrisome, stressful. We just want to know.
Over the last several weeks, hundreds of volunteers in the community have joined Tanya's family, searching about a dozen locations near her house and wooded areas nearby.
We believe that she would not be in that area.
They've gone out on foot and used trucks, ATVs, and drones, all looking for any kind of clue as to where Tanya might be.
They found all kinds of articles of clothing and stuff like that. Unfortunately, none of it matched the clothing that we know Tanya was last wearing.
Tanya lives at this home on Caroline Avenue with her boyfriend, Russell Carroll, in Auburndale, Florida. According to Auburndale police, Russell told them when he came home from work one day in late May, Tanya was gone. But Tanya's recently paid off car, her purse, cell phone, and her precious dog baby were all left behind. And Russell never reported her missing. And her family says he has not joined any of the searches. He told Tanya's family that she wanted some space. Tanya's loved ones say it doesn't add up.
I just don't believe she just walked away. Not from everything. Not her dog, not her car, not her family. I just don't.
At 38 years old, Tanya has never been married, and her family says her relationship with her boyfriend, Russell, is complicated. When they met in 2013, he had already spent time behind bars for the stabbing and attempted murder of his 16-year-old girlfriend 10 years before. Then in 2015, he went back to prison after being caught with narcotics during a traffic stop. He was just released several months ago, but he and Tanya had stayed in touch during the years they were apart. Nico Toscani, a retired member of the military and co-founder of the nonprofit group We Are the Essentials, took on Tanya's case about a month ago.
You know, we read a lot of the letters that were in her property between her boyfriend and her. And, you know, they were kind of sort of trying to help each other. Like he would say, you know, please stay clean. I can't wait to see you. I love you so much. And she would write back the same, you know, this is going to be a new start. Don't worry about what happened in your past. You know, this is us now.
Toscani says in the course of his investigation, he's found information suggesting that in recent months, Tanya may have been using methamphetamines. But her family says everyone they talked to has assured them she has stayed clean for the last 5 years.
You know, she did drugs in the past, and she got her life back on track. She's been clean almost 5 years now. She seemed happy. I mean, she didn't seem like anything wrong.
At this point, police have not named anyone as a person of interest in the case. But just days ago, they reclassified Tanya's case to missing and endangered. They told us in a statement they've followed up on numerous leads in attempts to locate Tanya, but all have been unsuccessful. Last week, Auburndale police and the Florida Department of Law Enforcement searched a home and dug out a yard on Rose Street in Auburndale. The homeowner said Tanya had lived there about 10 years ago and had stopped by the house for about 45 minutes on June 6th. But he says he is not involved in her disappearance and doesn't know where she is.
He was concerned that she might have made a mistake coming back down here because Tanya was doing so good where she was at. There's nothing in my house at all that involves Tanya. There's nothing illegal in my house right now.
But Tanya did not show up at the house alone on June 6th. She was with a man. Toscani says he and police would like to speak to him.
We are looking for one individual who is last with Tanya.
Okay.
So we're looking to talk to him, and so is the Sheriff's Department and the Auburndale Police Department.
Police say any evidence recovered during the search will be sent to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement Crime Lab. Meanwhile, family and friends grasp for hope, holding a prayer vigil for Tanya this week. They say the hardest part is not knowing what happened to her and worrying she needs their help.
Not knowing if we're gonna find her. Hoping that if we find her alive, but worried that we're not.
That's one thing she always kept in contact with me because she knew I worried. So I believe if she was really out there and she could get to a phone, she would have called me.
It's painful. It's a roller coaster ride for them. And we're doing the best to help them get some answers.
What happened to Tanya Whipp? I want to welcome in Nico Toscani now. He is the president of the Essentials Group. This is the group of former law enforcement and military members who work to help find missing people. We are the Essentials. Nico, thank you for being here. Missing and endangered, this case has now been changed from just missing. What more can you tell us about what police are sharing, and do they suspect foul play?
So right now, the police are mostly keeping a lot of stuff close to the vest. You know, her status was raised from missing to missing and endangered. There's normally three reasons for that. One, the person is a threat to themselves. Two, a threat to the community. Or three, suspected victim of foul play or criminal activity. So that's where we're at right now.
The family just says Tanya wouldn't do this. She wouldn't leave all of these important things behind. She would stay in touch with her family. I often lean on a family's instinct in these cases, and as they said, it just doesn't add up. I want to talk to you about a couple of the searches, one being this search of the property. What more did police find there? Why did they go there? Have any clues been uncovered in that effort?
Well, I will tell you, we talked to both individuals that lived there, and they say that Tanya was there on June 6th. She arrived with another male friend of hers. Now, one of the people that do live at the house said that Tanya had walked across the street to what she said was score some meth. And allegedly, Tanya came back. And then a short time later, supposedly, Tanya and this male friend left to go drop him off somewhere, and then for Tanya to go home.
Okay, so her family's saying that she's clean. That might not be the case. She might have been wrapped up in drugs again.
Yes, we believe that she did relapse. In talking to different people out on the street, you know, a lot of times families, you know, that's hard for them to accept. But the reality is that the drugs out there on the street these days are tremendously powerful, and it's easy for these folks to relapse.
Yeah, I mean, fentanyl, right? It's one pill can kill. We know the dangers. The sheriff in Polk County has issued a warrant for a man named Richard Oates from Winter Haven. What is his connection to Tanya?
So we spoke to Richard. He was cooperative. He said that earlier in the day of June 6th, Tanya had reached out to him via messenger and asked if they could get together because she needed to talk. She went and picked him up at an address, and they drove to Westbrook Park, which is in the Inwood area. They sat there for a little while. Tanya got spooked because of a blue pickup truck that was alleged to be driving up and down the street. Just so happens that her boyfriend drives the same type of vehicle. So they left from that location, and then they went to that Rose Street address to visit those two people in the trailer.
Okay, so he is the guy police want to talk to then as well? That was the man she was with that day?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, the boyfriend's name is Russell Carroll, and we had a picture of him up on the screen. What is his involvement in the search, if at all, and what has he said to you?
We talked to him a few times. He kind of had his stories got mixed up. You know, first time we talked to him, he said that Tanya had left while he was at work. Second time we spoke to him, he said that Tanya had made a phone call inside of the residence to an ex-boyfriend. She stepped outside, and then Russell believed that the ex-boyfriend had picked her up. And then there was a third story that she had just walked away.
Okay. And the family just says none of this seems to puzzle and piece together. You've been involved in the searches. I know there have been ATVs and dogs, lots of members of the community. Where are you searching, and where are clues leading you to look?
You know, unfortunately, in this particular area in Auburndale, there are a lot of wooded areas and lakes, a lot of construction areas, underdeveloped areas. So, you know, it's been rough. And what we're trying to do is now basically converge on certain areas in and around where we know she was last seen.
And talk a little bit, Nico, about your experience with We Are the Essentials. How did you guys start? And when you come into a case, what types of things are you guys looking to do to offer support for the families?
So we actually got inspired to formulate We Are the Essentials while helping out with the Gabby Petito case in the Fund for Brian Laundrie. During that time, we found that there was an incredible large amount of missing persons in and around Central Florida. So every one of us that are on that team, except for the private investigators, retired law enforcement or military. So it kind of gives us a purpose and also to give back to the community and to help these families that maybe cannot afford to hire private investigators.
Yeah, that was also the same reason that we started our missing series, was as a result of Gabby Petito's case and the search for Brian Laundrie. So I appreciate the timing of you all getting involved. I have a couple of viewer questions for you, Nico. This is from Joyce. She's from Lakeland, Florida. She wants to know, does anyone have Tanya's phone, which we do know was left behind, but can police request records to find out had she shared any texts or had any peculiar phone calls, any digital evidence that they've been able to follow?
So at this time, police are working to obtain those records. We do know, or we suspect, that the phone is with her wherever she is, but I really can't get into anything more than that.
Okay. Do you know what she was wearing the day she was last seen? Description of her clothes or anything else she had with her?
Yeah, so the boyfriend, Russell, said that he doesn't remember what she was wearing. His brother, who also lived in the residence, does not remember what she was wearing. However, the two individuals in the trailer and this guy, Richard Oates, all said that Tanya was wearing a olive green spaghetti strap tank top with khaki shorts. They did not remember what kind of footwear she was wearing or if she was wearing any jewelry or anything like that. But right now, the two main items are the tank top and the khaki shorts.
Okay. Law enforcement recovered some items, some evidence from the search of that property. Can you be specific as to what they took? Do you know?
We do not know. I know that Jake Rudy, one of the residents at that trailer, has a list We're not sure if that list is exactly what they took, but everything that, at least it's our understanding that everything that was obtained from that residence was sent to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement Criminal Lab,
Okay.
Crime Lab.
So undergoing testing now. The June 1st Facebook post, what did Tanya say in that post?
So on that post, she basically was questioning herself whether she made the right decision. She was saying that she didn't really want to talk to anybody about it, and that when she felt like it, she would let everybody know. Every one of her siblings said that that's not how Tanya text messaged. And we did cross-reference that texting to some other texts that she had sent in the past, and we do have questions about that.
I've got another question from YouTube. Gabby to Gabby is the one asking this question. Why didn't the boyfriend report her missing? Why didn't Russell Carroll alert authorities that she was nowhere to be found?
Well, that was the number one question for all of us in the very beginning. What Russell had told me, and I don't know if he told law enforcement the same, but what he told me was if I reported her missing, everybody was going to look at me because, what I was involved in the past.
But he's denying he had anything to do with her disappearance?
Correct.
What's the most challenging thing for you and those who are searching right now, now that 2 months have gone by?
One of the most challenging things is, when there is narcotics involved and there are rough neighborhoods involved, people are afraid to talk. I will say at this time, we have an anonymous donor who put up $1,000, and now Crime Stoppers has put up $3,000. So we're hoping that this $4,000 reward will get somebody to come forward and at least help us move this investigation a little further down the road.
This is what you do. You've got a lot of experience in it, but it also is emotional. And as we watched the piece, I felt as though you were emotionally connected to this case. How is looking for Tanya impacting you personally?
Yeah, well, it's difficult because you take this roller coaster ride, if you will, with the family. And, they are hoping because of your experience and the experience of your teammates that you can get them answers as to where their loved one is. And it's heartbreaking when you can't. And so, yeah, we have to take that roller coaster ride right along with them. And we do the best we can.
I was on the radio yesterday with WFLA down there, and I was talking to them about how big this case is. It's just ballooned, and there's so much interest, not just in Auburndale, but these surrounding communities. Talk about the impact of her disappearance on this area of Florida and beyond, what you have seen firsthand.
Well, first off, the people of Auburndale have been fantastic. They are a close-knit community, and the surrounding areas of Lakeland, Winter Haven, all of Polk County. I mean, they are a county that sticks together and helps each other out. So that's been fantastic. The impact, it's sad, but the reality is that drugs keep coming into our communities, and because of that happening, these numbers are going up. People are disappearing all the time, and I will tell you, for our organization, probably 90 to 95% of our cases are missing persons that are somehow or another connected with methamphetamine, fentanyl, heroin, or K2 spice.
Yeah, It's a dark and dangerous world, and there is a connection in a lot of it. Nico, I'm getting a bunch of questions from people, so I am very appreciative that folks are watching and want to be part of this conversation. Katie Lucas on YouTube is asking if the boyfriend, Russell Carroll, has been given a polygraph. Do you know?
He has been given a polygraph. We just don't know what the results are.
Okay. We showed a video just a moment ago of you talking to the search teams. What do you tell people ahead of the searches when they're going out to look?
Well, each team is given a specific area to search, though they're told different things. Some of the teams, they have to go into areas where they're going to be challenged physically with the environment, with animals, if you will, out there. And down here in Florida, the weather can change on a dime. So it can be beautiful out, and within 10, 15 minutes, the worst lightning and thunderstorm that you can imagine. So it's a tough going. The heat index is always over 100 degrees. So we try and make sure everybody stays hydrated, make sure everybody has some form of communication, and make sure that they stick together in groups of 2 and 3 at least.
Yeah, no, it's putting their own lives in danger, at risk, to go out and search for someone that they care about, and then oftentimes it's somebody they don't even know. I've got a question from Mike in Pennsylvania, and I appreciate this question because it applies to anyone. They want to know how they can help, whether they're in Florida or somewhere else. What would be your message to people who want to help in Tanya's case or another missing case?
The biggest thing is follow the case, stay involved. The way we're going to find Tanya and so many others is by people saying their names, having discussions about it, raising awareness. And that goes for the drug problem that we have in our communities today. The other day we had a candlelight vigil, and I couldn't help but look around and see all the young children that came out there. We want to make sure that doesn't happen to them. So yeah, it's a multi-pronged, evolution that we are going to have to take a hard look at as a country, and make sure that we try and do the best we can to not only find these people, but address the drug problem that's going on in this country right now.
Yeah, we can't emphasize that enough, how big of a role that plays in all of this. My final question to you, Nico, listening to Tanya's sister, the last soundbite that we heard from her was desperate. She said, Tanya she knows I worry, and because she knows that about me, she would reach out if she could. You can't help but think she's losing hope. How do you talk to family members to stay optimistic, to stay hopeful? And are you in this case, given what you know so far?
Yeah, we always tell families, try not to lose hope, stay strong in faith. And, there have been times where we thought for sure we were going to locate a person, and they were not going to be with us anymore. And we've gotten lucky a couple of times where we did find those persons alive and well. However, cases like this, you have to be more concerned because this is out of character for Tanya. Yeah, she's gone, off before for, overnight stay, or maybe lose a phone or something like that. But if I could tell you that this family, how close they are with each other, it's incredible. And there's no way, at least we believe, in our organization, that she just stepped away from her family. We believe something happened to Tanya, and we are going to try and get the family some answers.
Well, please give the family our best, Nico Toscani with We Are the Essentials. Thank you for the work that you are doing. I appreciate you being with us, and we'll be in touch, I hope, with a positive update soon. Thank you again.
Thank you. We appreciate everything you guys do.
Amen. All right, there is a missing person case on a number on your screen. If you have anything you can offer to find Tanya Whipp, you can call that number. And if you have a case you think we should be covering, a missing person case you think deserves our attention, you can send it to us at newsnationnow.com/missing. I'm Marni Hughes in Chicago. I'll see you back here next week. Thanks for joining us. I'm Marni Hughes, and this is Missing on NewsNation. Each week, we cover missing person cases from across the country, no matter their race, religion, background, or circumstances, because we believe every missing person matters. Many of the cases we cover come from you. Our featured case this week is one we have been following for the last year, and we have brand new updates in the search for Tanya Whipp, including a search and an arrest in the investigation. First, though, we have a couple other cases to update you on. It's been 13 years since Lauren Spierer vanished after a night out. She was a sophomore studying fashion at Indiana University in Bloomington, Indiana. It was June 3rd, 2011. Spierer was hanging out, drinking with friends before leaving Kilroy's Sports Bar without her phone or her shoes. In a new book called College Girl Missing: The True Story of How a Young Woman Disappeared in Plain Sight, author and investigative journalist Sean Cohen reveals some bombshells about the last people to see Lauren alive and what may have happened that night. Cohen spoke to my colleague Ashley Banfield about the case.
All these years later, to take a fresh look at everything that was gathered by the private investigators and read it all together and contrast the statements, see how certain persons of interest, their statements evolved. You see a bigger picture of that night, and it's important to tell that story. And so I revisited key players, and for the first time, they decided to open up and share what actually happened. They were very closed off in the early days, and eventually I worked my way back to the last people to see her alive, and confronted them.
And Corey Rossman is one of the people Cohen has tried to talk to. He was one of the last people with Lauren that night, and at some point, he was on a phone call as Lauren was intoxicated and slumped over nearby. Cohen wants to know who was on the other end of that line, on that call, and can they help put together another piece of this puzzle? Lauren's family has set up a website hoping for answers in her case, and you can learn more and submit information. It's at findlauren.com. The biological father of Sebastian Rogers is planning more searches for his son. It's been nearly 100 days since the 15-year-old was reported missing from his family's home in Tennessee. An Amber Alert has been issued, and there have been multiple searches. However, there is still no sign of Sebastian. His dad, Seth Rogers, spoke with our NewsNation station in Nashville and says his goal today is the same as it was the day Sebastian was reported missing.
When people stop looking, when people lose faith, it becomes a cold case. And I'm not going to lose faith.
The Sumner County Sheriff's Office continues to investigate Sebastian's disappearance, telling us they are leaving no stone unturned, and they are working closely with other agencies, and that includes the FBI. Now for this week's featured case and several new updates in the search for Tanya Whipp. There has been a dramatic turn of events in this investigation since we first started following the case nearly a year ago. Tanya's boyfriend, Russell Carroll, is now behind bars, police naming him as their only suspect in what they are now calling a homicide case. And there was also a new search of her home in Florida. Here's a closer look at her disappearance.
A Memorial Day weekend vigil for Tanya Whipp.
I think I've ran out of tears. Sometimes I feel that way. I ran out of tears.
This week marks 1 year since Tanya disappeared from this home on Caroline Avenue, where she lived with her boyfriend, Russell Carroll. According to Auburndale police, Russell told them when he came home from work one day in late May of last year, Tanya was gone. But Tanya's paid-off car, her purse, and her precious dog, Baby, were all left behind. Russell never reported Tanya missing and declined going on the community searches for her, telling Tanya's family at the time that she wanted some space. Tanya's family told NewsNation it doesn't add up.
I just don't believe she just walked away. Not from everything. Not her dog, not her car, not her family. I just don't.
Tanya's relationship with Russell has been complicated. When they met in 2013, he had already spent time behind bars for the stabbing and attempted murder of his 16-year-old ex-girlfriend 10 years earlier. Then, in 2015, he went back to prison after being caught with narcotics during a traffic stop. He and Tanya stayed in touch during the years they were apart, and after his release in early 2023, he and Tanya moved in together. Last October, police obtained a search warrant for Russell's home, leaving with his electronic records.
What do you think they'll find on your computers and cell phone?
Nothing. I mean, text messages between me and her, but it's nothing like, oh, this is like, hey, baby, you come home from work, what do you want to eat?
But on May 18th, the Auburndale police obtained another search warrant, going back to Russell's home again, with backhoes and equipment for another 4 days of searches. We Are the Essentials investigator Nico Toscani had just turned over evidence that led to Russell's arrest.
One of the things I found was a receipt.
The receipt led investigators to this advanced auto parts. Court documents say Tanya was captured there on surveillance video with Russell on May 26th of last year, the last place she was seen.
It was very emotional. At one point, I was crying. At one point, I was screaming. I was very excited that he was arrested because that's the first step for justice for Tanya.
Russell Carroll.
Police arrested Russell May 14th, charging him with grand theft and unlawful use of personal identification information. The arrest affidavit cited bank records, surveillance video, and other evidence alleging that Russell withdrew more than $7,500 from Tanya's bank account after she went missing between July 2023 through March of 2024. Throughout the year, hundreds of volunteers in the community have joined Tanya's family, searching about a dozen locations near her house and wooded areas nearby. They've gone out on foot and used trucks, ATVs, and drones, all looking for any kind of clue as to where she might be.
They found all kinds of articles of clothing and stuff like that. Unfortunately, none of it matched the clothing that we know Tanya was last wearing.
Now investigators are calling this a homicide, but Tanya's body has never been found. Her family says they will not give up trying to find her.
It's really hard to keep hope, to think that, something bad has happened, to say that our family isn't ripped to pieces over this. We are. It's killing us.
She knows how much we love her and how much this community has come together to help us to find her.
There's a little bit of relief that finally it's out there for the whole public to see that he is the prime suspect in her homicide.
Joining me now, Robin Klotzbier, Tanya's sister, and Nico Toscani. He's the co-founder of We Are the Essentials. To you both, thank you. Robin, I know that this is so difficult for you and your entire family, so thank you for speaking with us again about your sister. This news and receiving word of her boyfriend's arrest, just tell me how you're doing and where you're at right now.
I'm at, what do you mean, at home?
No, I mean emotionally, how it was to receive that news.
Well, I was happy that he was in jail. I hope he stays there. It's heart-wrenching to know that my sister's out there somewhere. We don't know where she's at.
Nico, you were pivotal in this investigation. Are you anticipating homicide charges based on what you now know about this case?
Yes, I think it's only a matter of time before they officially charge the only suspect with homicide.
Tell me more about the evidence that you uncovered and what led you to go down this road, looking and eventually finding this receipt that was so critical.
Right. So once we had spoken to the suspect, he had changed the story a number of times. And with that, we just felt like, something's definitely wrong here. So he still had possession of Tanya's belongings and her vehicle. And we did a search, and inside the vehicle, I found a crushed up receipt on the driver's side center console. And when I opened it up, the date was after he said she had disappeared. So we immediately turned that over to the Auburndale police. In addition, we collected some of Tanya's belongings on the same day, and inside her purse, we found some receipts, money withdrawal receipts from an ATM a month after Tanya had disappeared. So, we got that information and those receipts to the Auburndale police, obviously ASAP.
Are you any closer, Nico, to understanding what happened to Tanya that day? Where does this evidence lead you?
This has been a difficult one. In the beginning, you want to keep an open mind. You want to hope that people would be telling you the truth. So you got to follow all kinds of leads, figure out where your interviews are going, and start the evidence collection process. For us, it's a little bit more difficult because we are not law enforcement. So that makes it a little bit more challenging. The great news is the Auburndale police, and anytime we had a question or wanted to submit something that we thought was important to them, they immediately responded. And since that time, we've had a great working relationship. They're total professionals. There's no egos involved, and I am very hopeful that someday soon this family is going to get the answers they so desperately need.
Robin, right now, with the arrest and the search of the property, what is your greatest hope as your nightmare continues?
That we find Tanya and is able to put her to rest. Give her the peace that she deserves.
When you look back at your sister at the time of her disappearance, Robin, what do you recall going on in her life? And were you concerned, or was she fearful at all of Russell?
That's the one thing. We had a great relationship. I was like a mom. Her after our mom passed. So she would come to me with advice, asking, and I would give it. Sometimes she took it, sometimes she didn't, but she always listened to what I had to say. She seemed happy that Russell was getting out. I did not know his past, or I would have said to her, this isn't right. Don't go move in with him. Maybe she was afraid of what I would have thought, but she was an adult and she made this decision. She thought she was in love. She thought he loved her, but evidently he didn't.
All things become more clear in hindsight, but you did nothing wrong. You were there for your sister. I know how much you loved her. Nico, you take on these cases because you care about these families and you care about resolution and piecing together the puzzle. What does it mean to you to have a relationship with a family like Robin's and help in the process of trying to find some answers?
All of us at We Are the Essentials, be it the private investigators, the retired military like myself, or retired law enforcement officers that we have on our team. It not only gives us a sense of purpose, but we also have an opportunity to give back to the community. And when you sit down and speak to these families who have never had a situation like this, happened to them, it's difficult. It's extremely difficult for them. But I can tell you that for us, it gets just as difficult, especially when when there's a level of criminality involved, because of the difficulty of not being law enforcement and having certain things at our disposal. More or less, it's us getting out, talking, having deep conversations with the family, but also getting out in the community. And a lot of these people that go missing are in communities where they're not the best communities. Let's just say that. And so they're scared to speak to us. They are, they're concerned about their safety, their children's safety. So we get that. Now, I will tell you the good news on this case is that after Russell's arrest, some people have come forward with information. So we are praying, every day that this information that's being provided to the Auburndale police detectives will continue to put these pieces of the puzzle together. And, we're also asking Russell, if he sees this, find it in his heart. Look at Robin, look at Donna, look at Aunt Lisa, look at Laura, look at Jenny. This is a close-knit family, and Tanya didn't deserve this. So find it in your heart, Russell, because we know you're going to be told about this. Find it in your heart just to give this family some peace. Please.
Robin, tell us about your sister Tanya, what you miss most about her, what you want to share with folks at home who are watching.
Her smile, her laughter, her jokes. She never asked for jewelry, materialistic things like that. She asked for jacks for a car, a skill saw to work out, in the yard, drills. She liked to stay busy. She would help anyone, on the side of the road. She'd help, fix a tire. She didn't know strangers. She wanted to be loved. She loved everyone.
Well, I know you love her deeply, Robin. My heart breaks for you and your family that you're going through this. And Nico, thank you for filling a void where law enforcement is often strapped for resources. We will stay in touch, and I hope this does reach Russell and anyone else who has information that can help bring you, Robin, and your family some answers and some closure. I'm so sorry for what you're going through, and thank you once again for being with us.
Thank you.
If you have any information that can help police in this ongoing investigation into the disappearance of Tanya Whipp, you can contact the Auburndale Police Department or Crime Stoppers. Our missing team is traveling to CrimeCon this year. The annual event will be held in Nashville this weekend. It's a weekend-long convention dedicated to all things true crime and mystery, from the latest cases to scientific techniques in crime investigations. It is important for our missing team to be there to talk with law enforcement as well as victim advocates. We'll also spend some time meeting with family and friends who have been impacted by a crime or who have a missing person. Part of our focus this year will be discussing online predators, prevention and advocacy for victims, and how the threat of human and sex trafficking has evolved as technology develops. Joining me now is someone very familiar in this space who knows the risks and works directly with victims to prevent and bring an end to sex trafficking. Michaela Cimarral is with Shared Hope International. Michaela, thanks so much for being with us to talk about this important topic. Tell me about your team's mission.
Yes, thank you so much for having me, Marni. So Shared Hope International was founded in 1998 by former U.S. Congresswoman Linda Smith, and we are combating domestic minor sex trafficking through a three-pronged approach, through prevention, restoration, and then also bringing justice through our policy team that is in the Washington, D.C. area.
I know that the threat and the risk has changed as technology has developed. Talk about where that threat is now, given that so many of our teens and young people are online.
Absolutely. Exploitation has significantly increased because of connected devices. So many times I talk to parents who they don't truly understand that their child can be exploited or sex trafficked through their phone or through their gaming device. But we have seen a huge increase in kids being recruited and groomed, enticed online just through apps that are as common as Instagram or Snapchat, through gaming such as Fortnite, Roblox, and then also on gaming consoles. So it is extremely common, and we have to be aware of what's going on.
Right. We used to, Michaela, think of the white van driving through the neighborhood with tinted windows or windows that had been painted over. You didn't know who was inside. And our fear was our child would get snagged off the street or off of the playground. But that looks much differently because of our kids' access to the internet.
Yes, I have spoken to many parents and I tell them what I do for work, and the response has been pretty shocking that some parents still to this day say, oh, well, I tell my children to stay away from white vans, so we're good. And for me, of course, I always say it's good to have conversations with your children about in-person abductions, in-person, interactions with strangers, but are you having just as many conversations with your children about white vans driving by online? These predators are now in your children's bedrooms with them because they have unlimited access through device, through their laptops. And this is just something that we have to understand as adults, because we were taught about stranger danger on the street. We need to talk to our kids because this is where they're living and building their communities. We need to talk to them about stranger danger online.
So I'm curious what that looks like, the profile of a predator online. You mentioned some of the apps, Fortnite and Roblox. Those are apps and games that my kids have been on. How are these groups, these predators, targeting our kids? What does that look like, and what should we as parents be looking for?
So what I always say, and yes, we can name lots of apps that could be dangerous, but what I always say is if there is an app or any sort of game or social feature where they can chat with anyone, that's what we need to look for. We need to look out for kids that are chatting with someone freely. There have been cases where there are 12-year-old girls chatting with someone on an app until 2 or 3 in the morning. And what happens is these predators, they develop a relationship. They develop trust over time. They become a friend. Then they become a romantic partner. And it seems safe to the children because they've been playing games with them. They know them. And then it turns very quickly into an exploitative relationship.
Take us through that next step, how it happens. Are they lured then out of their room, out from behind the computer screen and out into a place where they're even more vulnerable? What does that next step in this dangerous reality look like?
Yes, that could happen to where they are lured to meet in person in real life. But I also like to remind people that at its core, when we talk about sex trafficking and sexual exploitation, that a child never has to leave their house or their bedroom for it to be trafficking. As long as there is an exchange of goods, now we have Cash App, we have Venmo. Kids can be bought things with digital money on Fortnite and Roblox, right? But then there also are digital gifts. So even in exchange of what we call child sexual abuse material, or CSAM, that is considered sex trafficking of a child. So a child could be on these apps sending nudes. They could be sending video content because they're either being manipulated to. The predator has also been sending things, images back and forth. And that can be another way, another version of sexual exploitation without ever leaving their home.
And there has to be a demand for this, Michaela, for it to continue. There is a hunger for this awful material and for the cycle, the vicious cycle, to continue to circle around. Talk about the demand. Who's buying this material and how is that being prevented and stopped?
So the buyers is what we need to understand that more. There is a high demand. The sex industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry. And with humans, with children, especially, they're vulnerable and they can be sold over and over and over. Images can be circulated to many different places, including pedophile-specific websites, porn websites. And as you know, as we say, and as I said earlier, it's called child sexual abuse material because that's what it is. It is not child pornography. So we need to get that straight. And that demand for this is growing because it is becoming more accessible online, but also because there are many porn addictions in our country, and also sex addictions, and then also childhood abuse that could lead to someone wanting to seek out this type of material.
What are some of the signs, Michaela, that someone is being targeted? What specifically should we be looking for on our kids' devices and as we talk to them?
So some indicators, and it can literally just be one of these, or it can be multiple signs. Secretive relationships and being secretive with their phone or devices, not wanting to talk about what they're doing, maybe hiding apps. Staying up late. Like I said, we have come across many cases where kids wake up just very groggy, very tired because they were chatting on their phone until 2 or 3 in the morning. Sometimes they're very withdrawn from their friends. Maybe grades start to slip. They start not showing up to school or skipping school. So those are just a few of the signs. And then there are also more extreme signs. Maybe once they are being exploited or being trafficked, they might have unexplained money, unexplained expensive gifts. For girls or anyone who identifies as a girl, they might have fresh hair, nails, new purses that are unexplained for maybe a 13-year-old that can't have a job. So those are just a few of the signs that we tell people to look out for.
How hard is it, Michaela, to catch those involved in trafficking, catch these predators?
Unfortunately, it's too hard. It's a very complex crime. There are thousands of child sex trafficking cases prosecuted every single year, but I saw many of those cases when I worked directly in the field with survivors. I saw many of those cases slip through the cracks, unfortunately. A lot of the girls that I worked with that were in jail, they were serving time for maybe drug possession that their trafficker planted on them, but then their trafficker got to walk free. Because a lot of times there is that trauma bond, that relationship or that false sense of love and security is built between the victim and the trafficker. And so they will take the hit, they will take the fall for that person. And I had many girls that I worked with who are minors, and they would say my boyfriend was 37, 45, and yet judges wouldn't bat an eye at that. And that's something that we need to change as well within our criminal justice system, is recognizing those signs.
Thank you for the work that you're doing, Michaela. It means the world for you to be here, to open our eyes to the dangerous reality that is out there. Shared Hope International, appreciate you and appreciate your entire team for advocating for the victims. There is a life after you're a victim of one of these crimes, and you guys are there to bridge that gap. So thank you. And if you'd like more information about Shared Hope International and all of the important work they're doing, you can go to sharedhope.org. They also have a number of resources to help victims learn about internet safety and take action in your community. So I encourage you to check that out. All right, Lori Paige is 12 years old. She is from the Tallahassee area, and it's another case that right now is on our radar. She was last seen near San Luis Mission Park in June of 2023. There is a $15,000 reward that is being offered in her case. We've got the number on your screen. Submit tips. Call 1-800-FBI, 1-800-CALL-FBI. And also another case we're following, this is Troy Robert Galloway. He has been missing since January of 2016. He's a U.S. Marine, Corps veteran, son, father, husband. Troy has several tattoos, including a devil pulling an angel on his back, as well as a red and black cross on his right shoulder. Anyone with information can contact the Tulum County Sheriff's Office near California's Yosemite National Park if you have any information that can help in this case. And make sure you tune in next week. We're going to be taking a closer look at the disappearance of Jacob Olivier, a new development in this case. Jacob's truck was found in the Florida Everglades National Park in the summer of 2011. Our team has now discovered Jacob's disappearance follows that of another man with strong family ties who went missing on a camping trip just months earlier. Both cases getting very little media attention until now. So join us next week as we dig into the disappearance of Jacob, talking to his family and friends around the timeline that he vanished. And if you have a missing case that you think we should be looking into, you can send it to us at newsnationnow.com/missing. Many of the cases we cover come from you. Thanks as always for watching. I'm Marni Hughes in Chicago. I will see you back here next week for another missing case.